So solving over the complex field, it just, if you think about solving our quadratics, we talk about discriminants and things like that, and it's all about if our discriminant is not greater than or equal to 0, we can't solve the quadratic. All right. Well, we can do that now. All right. So it just means we're solving over the complex number system. So we can factorize and things like that. But if we're solving, it's just as easy to write z squared is equal to negative 16, which means z squared is equal to 16i squared. So that z is equal to plus or minus the square root of that, which is 4i. So it's just introducing that I squared equal to negative 1 element. We will need to, though, use some of our different quadratic techniques. Most significantly, I guess, completing the square. There's nothing to say we couldn't use the quadratic formula here, and I might just do one version with that. But I prefer to complete the square. Z, let's do it slowly to start with. Half that middle term and square and add it. And I'm going to make 4 as 16 on 4. So then I end up with z minus 3 on 2 all squared. So then we get minus 3 on 2 all squared, which is 9 on 4 plus 16 on 4. All that's equal to 0, of course. So we get z minus 3 on 2 all squared. That's that. Plus 7 on 4 equal to 0. We'll take it across. Now we can just solve as normal. Equal to negative 7 on 4. We can't get the square root of negative, so introduce I squared. Z minus 3 on 2 all squared equals 7 I squared on 4. Now we can take a square root of both sides. So we get z minus 3 on 2 is equal to plus or minus root 7 I on 2. So the I on 2 outside the square root sign. So z is equal to plus or minus, 3 on 2 plus or minus root 7I on 2. Or we could take the half out and just write it as 3 plus or minus root 7I. So they're equivalent expressions, obviously. So we can use our quadratic rule. So it's minus b, so 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Yeah, so we'll get 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 16 over 2. 2, and then, which is negative 7, introduce our I squared, 3 plus or minus root 7I over 2, we finally remembered. Yeah, so we can use both. The last one there, so obviously we just don't take a square root of everything. Z squared minus 2z plus 5 equal to 0. Exactly the same, isn't it? Minus 1. So it's plus 1 minus 1 plus 5. So we get z minus 1 all squared plus 4 is equal to 0. Just take it across and add I squared. So z is equal to 1 plus or minus 2i.